Hi everyone, welcome back to Bible in a Year. My name is Natalie and today we're on day 161. Welcome to the channel. I am so happy that you're here today and I hope your day is going fantastic. We're going to be reading out of Deuteronomy chapter 21, Isaiah chapter 46, 1 Corinthians chapter 7, but we're only going to be reading verses 1 through 13 today. And then we're going to close out the day with Psalm 93. The whole thing. We're not breaking it up today. I'm very happy to hear about that. So let's get started with Deuteronomy chapter 21. If someone is found slain in the land which Yahweh your God gives you to possess, lying in the field, and it isn't known who has struck him, then your elders and your judges shall come out, and they shall measure to the cities which are around him who is slain. It shall be that the elders of the city which is nearest to the slain man shall take a heifer of the herd, which hasn't been worked with and which has not drawn in the yoke. The elders of that city shall bring the heifer down to a valley with running water, which is neither plowed nor sown, and shall break the heifer's neck there in the valley. The priests, the sons of Levi, shall come near. For them Yahweh your God has chosen to minister to him, and to bless in Yahweh's name. And according to their word shall every controversy and every assault be decided. All the elders of that city which is nearest to the slain man shall wash their hands over the heifer whose neck was broken in the valley. They shall answer and say, Our hands have not shed this blood, neither have our eyes seen it. Forgive, Yahweh, your people Israel, whom you have redeemed, and don't allow innocent blood among your people Israel. The blood shall be forgiven them. So you shall put away the innocent blood from among you, when you shall do that which is right in Yahweh's eyes. When you go out to battle against your enemies, and Yahweh your God delivers them into your hands, and you carry them away captive, and see among the captives a beautiful woman, and you are attracted to her, and desire to take her as your wife, then you shall bring her home to your house. She shall shave her head and trim her nails. She shall take off the clothing of her captivity, and shall remain in your house, and bewail her father and her mother a full month. After that you shall go in to her and be her husband, and she shall be your wife. It shall be, if you have no delight in her, then you shall let her go where she desires, but you shall not sell her at all for money. You shall not deal with her as a slave, because you have humbled her. If a man has two wives, and one beloved and the other hated, and they have borne him children, both the beloved and the hated, and if the firstborn son is hers who was hated, then it shall be in that day that he causes his sons to inherit that which he has, that he may not give the son of the beloved the rights of the firstborn before the son of the hated, who is the firstborn. But he shall acknowledge the firstborn, the son of the hated, by giving him a double portion of all that he has, for he is the beginning of his strength. The right of the firstborn is his. If a man has a stubborn and rebellious son, who will not obey the voice of his father or the voice of his mother, and though they chasten him, will not listen to them, then his father and his mother shall take hold of him and bring him out to the elders of his city and to the gate of his place. They shall tell the elders of his city, This, our son, is stubborn and rebellious. He will not obey our voice. He is a glutton and a drunkard. All the men of this city shall stone him to death with stones, so you shall remove the evil from among you. All Israel shall hear and fear. If a man has committed a sin worthy of death, and he is put to death, and you hang him on a tree, his body shall not remain all night on the tree, but you shall surely bury him the same day. For he who is hanged is accursed of God. Don't defile your hands, which Yahweh your God gives you for an inheritance. Yikes. So that is a little bit of history. We don't do those things anymore. And whether or not we should have held on to those laws, that might be up for debate. I know that in some countries they still practice a lot of these punishments. But again, I am of the belief that Jesus is the new covenant, and we don't stone people. We listen to them. We love them. We try to help them. And if they are still behaving the way they are, that is for God to judge. We don't stone people anymore. All right, Isaiah 46. I think we're going to get into, or we may have already read it in Luke, where they're bringing somebody out to stone. I believe it was a woman who had committed adultery. Still can't figure out why the man wasn't with her, but she did commit adultery, and she was going to be stoned. And I believe it was this time that Jesus said, whoever has not sinned, go ahead, throw the first stone. And they all walked away. And Jesus said, you're forgiven. Be on your way and sin no more. That's how Jesus handled it. All right, Isaiah chapter 46. I've been telling myself to stop being so chatty. So anyway, here we go. Bel bows down. Nebo stoops. Their idols are carried by animals and on the livestock. The things that you carried around are heavy loads, a burden for the weary. They stoop and they bow down together. They could not deliver the burden, but they have gone into captivity. Listen to me, house of Jacob, and all the remnant of the house of Israel that have been carried from their birth, that have been carried from the womb. Even to old age I am he, and even to gray hairs I will carry you. I have made, and I will bear. Yes, I will carry and will deliver. To whom will you compare me and consider my equal, and compare me as if we were the same? Some pour out gold from the bag and weigh silver in the balance. They hire a goldsmith, and he makes it a god. They fall down. Yes, they worship. They bear it on their shoulder. They carry it and set it in its place, and it stands there. It cannot move from its place. Yes, one may cry to it, yet it cannot answer. It cannot save him out of his trouble. Remember this and show yourselves men. Bring it to mind again, your transgressors. Remember the former things of old, for I am God, and there is no other. I am God, and there is none like me. I declare the end from the beginning, and from ancient times things that are not yet done. I say, my counsel will stand, and I will do all that I please. I call a ravenous bird from the east, the man of my counsel from a far country. Yes, I have spoken. I will also bring it to pass. I have planned. I will also do it. Listen to me, you stubborn-hearted, who are far from righteousness. I bring my righteousness near. It is not far off, and my salvation will not wait. I will grant salvation to Zion, my glory to Israel. Listen to me, you stubborn-hearted. He loves us. He could call us so much worse. All right, 1 Corinthians 7, 1 through 13. Here we go. Now concerning the things about which you wrote to me, it is good for a man not to touch a woman. But because of sexual immoralities, let each man have his own wife, and let each woman have her own husband. Let the husband give his wife the affection owed her, and likewise also the wife her husband. The wife doesn't have authority over her own body, but the husband does. Likewise, also, the husband doesn't have authority over his own body, but the wife does. Don't deprive one another, unless it is by consent for a season, that you may give yourselves to fasting and prayer, and may be together again, that Satan doesn't tempt you because of your lack of self-control. But this I say by way of concession, not of commandment. Yet I wish that all men were like me. However, each man has his own gift from God, one of this kind, and another of that kind. But I say to the unmarried and to the widows, it is good for them if they remain even as I am. But if they don't have self-control, let them marry, for it's better to marry than to burn with passion. But to the married I command, not I, but the Lord, that the wife not leave her husband. But if she departs, let her remain unmarried, or else be reconciled to her husband, and that the husband not leave his wife. But to the rest I, not the Lord, say, if any brother has an unbelieving wife, and she is content to live with him, let him not leave her. The woman who has an unbelieving husband, and he is content to live with her, let her not leave her husband. So that is a whole lot to unwrap there. Basically, Paul is saying it's better to get married than to sleep around. The Lord would not have us sleeping around with everybody willy-nilly. There are pregnancies that can happen. There are illnesses that can happen. There are viruses that can happen as a consequence of sleeping around. We all know it. And so Paul is here saying, hey, if you can't control yourself, maybe it's better that you just get married and stay with that one person. And then I kind of really love this when he says, but to the rest, I, not the Lord, say. He's actually admitting that he is throwing in his opinion that if there is a wife who is married, if there is a brother who is married to an unbelieving wife, and she is content to live with him, let him not leave her. So that's his own opinion. I find that very interesting because, as I said, either yesterday or the day before, there are some issues that I take with some of the things that Paul says, and here it is. He actually admits, God didn't say this, but this is my opinion. So I find that a little bit relieving. All right, so Psalm chapter 93. All right, let's close out this day. Yahweh reigns. He is clothed with majesty. Yahweh is armed with strength. The world also is established. It can't be moved. Your throne is established from long ago. You are from everlasting. The floods have lifted up Yahweh. The floods have lifted up their voice. The floods lift up their waves. Above the voice of many waters, the mighty breakers of the sea, Yahweh on high is mighty. Your statutes stand firm. Holiness adorns your house. Yahweh forevermore. Yahweh forevermore. Wow, this was another great day. I know I say that every single time. Maybe it's just a fact. Maybe it's just a fact. There is, for my own personal life, there is a lot of commotion and noise, and it's almost like I have a seashell up against my ear and it's going shh, and there's just so much swirling around, and then I just have this moment to read with you. And it just brings everything back into perspective. And that perspective is Yahweh. That perspective is Jesus and everything that He would have for our lives, which would be love and compassion and quietness and worship. So thank you for joining me today. I'm so happy that you're here. Have a fantastic rest of the day and come on back for tomorrow, which will be day 162. And I will see you then. Bye.